we shared grief then, and I think that I need him now if I go see the wall, and I think he would need me, just judging by phone calls that I've had with him through the last 20 years.
Tennessee lost nearly 1,200 men to the Vietnam War. Creators of the moving wall hope the memorial will, among other things, help the family and friends of those who died deal with their loss. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. St. Elmo residents couldn't believe it back in November when the owner of a small local store, George Friedman, was brutally shot to death.
I came in, there was a lady in there, she was trying to call the police, and there was a bunch of kids in there, and I was telling them to get out of there so we could, you know, call the police and get everybody here. He would have gave the man his billfold. He didn't have to kill him.
After a 4-week investigation, police arrested Billy Joe McClure. According to witnesses, McClure robbed 63-year-old Friedman, then shot him twice in the head. McClure pleaded guilty to the felony murder charge today and was sentenced to life in prison. The St. Elmo Superette has been closed for over 9 months now, but residents here still remember George Friedman, the man who ran the store for over 20 years.
Very nice man, friendly, you know, jug and laugh, real nice person.
It was a needless killing, in my opinion. I mean, if a man wanted money to ask him for it, he'd have given it to him.
What do you think now that he's been sentenced to life? What do you think about that?
I think that's what he deserves. Get him off the streets.
If McClure had not pleaded guilty and his case had been tried, the state had planned to ask for the death penalty. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. Baltimore is home to one of the most successful aquariums in the United States. Along with its beautiful harbor waterfront property, the city's aquarium is regarded as one of the area's biggest tourist attractions.
It is what architects call a signature building. In other words, it makes a statement. It really is a tremendous contributor to the community, and it is the cornerstone attraction. 76% of the people that are in the Inner Harbor, Baltimore, are there first and foremost because the aquarium's there.
As Chattanooga prepares to begin its own riverfront development, officials are eager to begin research. Representatives from city and county government, the Board of Education, local companies, and civic organizations join with Chattanooga Venture on their trip to Baltimore. They hope to learn what that city did to make such a financial success of their riverfront development.
Well, we'll be looking at several of the things that they've got up there, including the aquarium. They have a...
And I want a baby doll. And me a roller tractor. And give me a transformer. So give me a transformer track. I want a baby doll.
You want a baby doll?
I don't know.
These children's Christmas lists are not unlike those of most area children, but these are just a few of Hamilton County's 450 children in foster care. They gathered at the office of the Tennessee Department of Human Services to meet Santa Claus and send him back to the North Pole with their Christmas lists. It's all part of the Santa for All Seasons program, a nonprofit corporation that provides Christmas presents for these children.
Santa Claus is just a thing that helps them have a good Christmas and believe in Santa Claus.
Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. This is the way the Whitfield County Animal Shelter looked last night. There were several weak and sick dogs, as well as one dead puppy. All of the dogs were wet, and there was very little food to be found in the dirty cages. Today, the cages were clean, and there were only 2 dogs who looked ill. The dead puppy had been removed, and the dogs had plenty of food and water. The shelter was also crowded at times, with people coming to adopt dogs and check out the situation. Many had heard reports that animals were allegedly being neglected at the pound and stopped by or called to check the shelter out. The report was released this week by the National Humane Society. One of the claims it made was that the shelter was not giving the animals any medical attention. I asked one of the workers what kind of medicine they had on hand for ill dogs. He said they just shot them if they were too sick. We caught up with the pound manager and asked him about the National Humane Society's report.
I've had it with all of them.
Yeah.
I said, how can I tell you something if I don't know nothing? I said, I have got to get a copy of the report first. I said, everybody's got the report but me. Can't say nothing if you don't know nothing to say.
Do you contend that all of the conditions are fine at the pound?
As far as I'm concerned, they are. But everybody's got a different opinion about everything.
Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. For nearly 4 years, members of the police department have been collecting evidence from the 7 adult bookstores in Chattanooga. And yesterday, the grand jury returned 23 indictments, charging some of the owners and employees of these establishments with the possession of obscene material with the intent to distribute.
It is this department's hope that these indictments and arrests will send a very clear message to the smut peddlers that their activities will not be tolerated in this city.
What's your reaction to the charge that this establishment is possessing obscene material with the intent to distribute it?
Well, I don't think the charge is right. We've been distributing obscene material since January of this year, since I've worked here, and it doesn't seem to offend anybody. We don't drag people in here. I mean, we run a good, clean business. I mean, we don't have any problems with anybody. I think the city of Chattanooga is taking it personally.
The possession of obscene materials with the intent to distribute is a misdemeanor charge tried in civil court. But the owners and operators of some of these establishments will face criminal charges as well. The Attorney General's office claims to have evidence which proves some adult bookstores are a public nuisance. The problem, according to police, concerns the so-called back rooms located in many of the stores. Investigators have made several arrests dealing with sexual activity which allegedly occurs in these rooms. The question now seems to be whether or not this activity poses a public health threat. Those arrested face a court date of Tuesday, November 10th, at which time they will answer to the civil obscenity charge, but they'll face criminal charges at a later date. In the meantime, the bookstores will remain open.
We feel like the battle lines have been drawn on obscenity in Chattanooga, and we'll either win or lose, and we'll take. If we win, we'll be in business. If we lose, we'll go away, but it will go to the Supreme Court. It won't stop here.
Rebecca Cook, News Center 12.
I can't imagine Marion County without football or without a sports program, you know, and football is the main sport here, and it'd just be, to me, a shame to...
It was emotions like this that brought over 200 people to the Marion County School Board meeting tonight. In an effort to avoid laying off 3 teachers, the board voted 3-2 last Monday night to cut funding for extracurricular activities, including sports and band programs. Reaction from most local residents was quick and hostile.
I think it stinks. I think that they should look at the situation and maybe cut in other ways rather than, I mean, if other counties can do it, why can't we?
We've got a petition over here that we've signed, that people who want extracurricular activities, and we've had a bunch of people sign it. We don't know if it'll make a difference or not, but we've got the support of the community.
I think they'll be changed tonight. I think the uproar it's caused, it'll be changed tonight. Now, what the alternative is, I don't know.
The board was presented with a motion from Superintendent John Shelley for the continued funding of the programs. The board voted 3-2 in favor of the reinstatement. One of the board members had decided to change his vote, saying he had received some input from local residents.
We marched in front of my shop with banners for one thing. And they came in and talked with me. They said he wasn't mad. They didn't hold it against me, but they were unhappy. They wanted sports. So now they'll get it.
Some of the Marion County residents we spoke with said they never believed the board would stick with their decision, that it was just a move made to emphasize the seriousness of their budget problems. In fact, the Marion County High School coaching staff was so confident that the board would change their decision, they were actually holding football practice while the board was meeting.
Well, we're tickled that the thing is finally resolved, and I hope it's done and over with.
In Marion County, Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. Arguing that their privacy rights were violated, 10 employees took their employer, TVA, to court last month. Judge Edgar answered their claim by saying that any privacy interests the plaintiffs have are outweighed by the need to ensure a drug-free security force at nuclear plants.
I'm somewhat disappointed in the fact that he ruled against the plaintiffs. I'm not particularly surprised. I felt like we had an uphill battle going into the case.
Spokesman Mike Harris, speaking for TVA Government and Public Affairs Manager Craven Crowell, said the authority was pleased with the decision.
The judge's decision recognizes the importance of TVA's interest in maintaining a drug-free workforce at its nuclear plants, with which we fully agree.
In his decision, Judge Edgar addressed the plaintiff's charge that the drug test violated their Fourth Amendment rights concerning right to privacy and search and seizure. The decision stated that drug tests may be conducted when there is reasonable suspicion, and that suspicion could be based on tips from employees or informants. The judge therefore concluded that the testing of plaintiffs was not a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Now the question is, will the employees continue their fight?
I'm really not at liberty to say. If I was going to speculate, I would think that there's a strong likelihood we will appeal.
So while the fight may not be over, this decision is expected to set a precedent for future cases involving drug testing. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12.
If the darkest day was the day that Jim Baker confessed to the Charlotte Observer what happened with Jessica Hahn, I might say that the brightest day in Christian broadcasting is the formation of the EFICOM.
EFICOM, the Ethics and Financial Integrity Commission. The National Religious Broadcasters Association announced this plan for a watchdog commission for radio and TV broadcasters today in Cleveland, Tennessee.
The Code of Ethics that we've been working on for more than a year already needs to come out. It needs to get done.
Membership requirements for EFICOM include the submission of an annual audit done by an independent accounting firm, ethical and dignified donation requests, a board of directors comprised of at least 5 members, and a limitation on the number of family, staff, and employees on the board.
I believe EFICOM is going to be a tremendous help. People are looking for accountability. They want to know that their money is being spent for the purpose in which they sent it.
Accepted ministries will receive seals of accreditation to be placed at the beginning of their television programs. Broadcasters attending the conference said they feel EFICOM will bring a much-needed credibility to TV ministries nationwide. But most agree that much depends on the public's ability to put recent scandal behind them. In Cleveland, Tennessee, Rebecca Cook, News Center 12.
And then my son is in the 8th grade, and he is in the accelerated class. And because of this many students being in his class, he can't get the detailed instruction that he needs.
Parents and teachers in Marion County are concerned about the quality of education their children are receiving. At Tuesday night's Board of Education meeting, in an attempt to meet budget needs, 3 vacant teaching positions were eliminated, and 1 other position here at Jasper Middle School was also eliminated. The teacher had already taught 2 full days of school. Then when students arrived on Wednesday, she was gone.
They added people from other lower groups and educations to our class, and we learned slower and instead of faster like we did.
Concerned with education as a whole in Marion County, some parents and teachers want the teaching position back at Jasper Middle School. Over 200 people came out to a meeting to express their concern and to have their questions answered.
Why are teachers being cut? Because it isn't fair to these children. And why my school?
That's a hard question to answer, why it was cut from Jasper Middle School. I've been asking myself the same question. I think possibly the board, their reaction was, I doubt that they fully understood the cut that was being made there.
After debating the issue for over 2 hours, the group decided to form a citizens task force and join with representatives from South Pittsburgh and Whitwell, and they plan to take their complaints to the school board as well as the county commissions. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12.
Well, somebody's going to have to do justice. He's going to have to get it some way or another. He just can't go along just walking the streets for nothing to kill somebody else. He killed my son in cold-blooded murder.
Geraldine Anderson's son, Eddie, died last spring from shotgun wounds to his face and chest. The shooting occurred on March 27th at a local tavern in Meigs County.
Eddie Anderson had a few words, and Jerry Allen went out and got his shotgun and come back in, come through the door shooting. He shot me twice, shot Eddie Anderson twice, shot Mike Roberts one time.
Police arrested 27-year-old Jerry Allen and charged him with 1 count of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. Allen stood trial here Tuesday and Wednesday as over 200 people packed into the courtroom. Allen admitted in his testimony that he shot Anderson, but defense attorneys contend that the shooting was an act of self-defense. A riot erupted here in the courtroom as the jury foreman read each not guilty verdict. Angry family members and spectators began arguing, and violence soon broke out. The victim's mother was seriously injured in the scuffle as people began breaking windows and throwing furniture. The Tennessee State Patrol was called to the scene around 8:30. The courthouse was then secured and jury and family members were escorted to safety.
It seems like everything has calmed back down. We're keeping an eye on everybody, watching movement. State police is here. We're all out patrolling the county wide now.
And although things seem to be getting back to normal, the mayor has issued a decree for a curfew, which will be in effect from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. until Labor Day. And they're off. They may be off to a slow start, but these crabs are generating a lot of energy from their audience.
I was setting her up and you went for it. That's great. Call for him.
It's wild, but my crab has got a hole in the shell. It don't run good.
Well, are you going to protest?
No, I tried to pick another crab. He wouldn't let me pick one, so I guess I'm just a loser.
Crab racing, a relatively new sport, but it's picking up speed as its originator travels around the country promoting his thoroughbred racing crabs.
Well, basically, I invented crab racing to make people have fun. It's just a thing to make people say hello, get them together, win some prizes, and it's free.
Here in Chattanooga, the crab races are held every Friday night at the Holiday Inn Convention and Trade Center. You don't have to have any money to enter, just a little imagination. First, you pick out your crab, give it a name, and then cheer it on. The first crab to cross the finish line with both pinchers wins their trainer a chance to compete for some big prizes.
2 certificates worth $50 off scuba diving courses. We've got a $50 cash prize for the grand winner, and that's every Friday night. And we're going to work up some trips to Jamaica and Cancun. That'll be coming in a couple weeks.
And for these prizes, the trainers will try just about anything to coax their crabs across the finish line. But you have to obey the rules. No blowing, pointing, leaning, or banging on the table, or the race director will get you. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. The dramatic rescue of Jessica McClure warmed the hearts of many and placed concern in the minds of most parents, including Joyce Hickson of Soddy Daisy. News Center 12 did a story the day Jessica was rescued on several abandoned wells in Hamilton County. Joyce said she became concerned when she saw the story, especially when she found one of these wells in her own neighborhood. Most of the wells we found were in remote, basically unpopulated areas, but an unmarked, unprotected well such as this, located in a residential section, poses an obvious threat.
Well, a neighbor told us about it. He warned us about the kids and animals falling into the well across the street. It's certainly a danger because it's not marked. There's no boards around it. There's no fence around it. It's very deep, and more than just a child could fall in it, adult or anything.
And that's what concerns Joyce. She says there are young boys who play in these woods, and without any warning, they or even her own son could stumble onto the well. So she decided to do something about it.
Well, I heard that Hamilton County, if you called them and reported it, that they would come out and see about it and see what they could do about it. So I called and reported it.
And first of all, visit the site to verify there is indeed an open well, and then we'll track down the property owner and request that the property owner fill the well or cover the well appropriately.
We spoke to the owner of the property today, and he said he had no idea that the well was on his lot, but says he now plans to do something about it, which is why the Environmental Health Department urges anyone who knows of the whereabouts of one of these wells to call their office and issue a complaint. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. Most children are fascinated by mystery. It wouldn't take much effort for a young child to move an old log or a few pieces of metal just to satisfy their curiosity. But what they might find is an old abandoned well, which means they suddenly come face to face with danger. Some of these wells are 80 feet deep or more, which if someone fell in like the situation in Texas would make it very difficult for rescue personnel to reach them safely. We found several of these wells throughout North Hamilton County. Some of them had been plugged with cement, others just simply covered with metal or fenced off with barbed wire.
But they're dangerous. Because anybody hunts at night or something like that, well, they liable to walk off in one that ain't closed in. A lot of people careless, and these honeysuckle vines growed up, covered up some of them. That's the bad part.
So now the question is, what's being done to prevent possible accidents?
We cooperate with the citizenry to advise them on the maintenance of a private well and how to operate it safely. And if we receive a complaint, because we do work by complaints, of an open well, then we will act to close the well as a general health nuisance.
In the meantime, it's obvious that these open wells are extremely dangerous, and immediate action to close them needs to be taken. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. They say there's a fine line between chili that's too hot or too mild, and it looks like some of these cooks crossed over that line. But the true chili lover will tell you there's more to good chili than just hot peppers. Sir, do you consider yourself a chili connoisseur?
Yes, I make the best chili in the world.
What makes a good chili?
What makes a good chili? You gotta have diversity.
I look for a lot of good beef, good beans, not a lot of spice, a lot of hot sauce, not too tomatoey. That makes a good chili.
It's the Great Chattanooga Chili Challenge, just part of a day-long festival which benefits the March of Dimes. These chefs work over a hot stove all day, not only for a good cause, but also for the thrill of competition. And of course, they all think they have that special secret ingredient that makes their chili the best.
Alligator.
What else?
Oh, all kinds of things. Peppers, a little bit of that, some oink, 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 oink. Steak, pork, you name it.
Where'd you get your alligator?
Florida. Well, we got him with these. Grabbed him by his tail, drug him out, threw him in the back of the pickup truck, drug him up here. By the time we got him up here, he was nice and tender, chopped him up and threw him in there.
Well, it's, I guess, my secret recipe, and I can't give all of that out, but I use a homemade chili sauce and a homemade Mexican sausage in it that I make myself.
But the taste testers are the true judges. For a $5 donation, they receive a cup good for 10 samples. These guys keep trying to tell me that they've got the best chili out here, so I decided to give it a try for myself. It may not be the best, but it's got to be the hottest. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. Ghosts and goblins throughout the area celebrated All Hallows Eve in style. In Bradley County, they headed to the mall for the biggest county-wide Halloween celebration ever, complete with free games, entertainment by the coasters, prizes, and, of course, candy, which is always the #1 main attraction of the evening.
Trick or treat. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat. You're never too old to enjoy all the goodies of Halloween. Oh well, it was worth a try. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12. According to witnesses, this tractor-trailer was traveling north on Interstate 75 when another truck forced the cattle rig into the median.
He had no alternative but to come over in the median where we were at. When he come off the median, started sliding in this loose gravel we got here, and he hit this manhole that we've got dug in the median over here, and it flipped him over.
What'd the cows do?
Well, when the top of it bursted open, the cows started coming out, you know, running everywhere, all up and across the freeway.
There were about 80 cows on board when the truck overturned, and witnesses say about 40 escaped. Several were struck by cars as they ran down the interstate, but some were later captured and loaded onto trailers brought in from a Georgia farm. It took workers over 2 hours to get into the trailer to unload the rest, which were trapped inside. Officials had more to worry about than just the health and safety of the cattle. They also had to concern themselves with whether or not the cows would be scared by the noise of the traffic and run out into the interstate. In fact, one of the cows broke free and took off running into oncoming traffic. It was later captured, but officials will be searching the area throughout the night, trying to round up the rest of the cattle and send them to their final destination, Texas. Rebecca Cook, News Center 12.
This is TV 12, one of the WDEF stations, leaders in news and information. From Chattanooga's first television station, this is News Center 12, Nightside, with Christy Murphy and Bill Ross. Nightside reporter Rebecca Cook, meteorologist David Neal and his Rainbow Radar, and today's sports summary with Kevin Billingsley.
And while authorities are offering free candy screening, they say there are also some important steps parents can take to ensure a safe Halloween. Police advise parents Republican presidential nomination. Robertson says the South will elect the next president of the United States, so over the next several months, he plans to campaign in several key southern states as he prepares for Super Tuesday.
I will focus primarily on the South and
including a rule requiring each hunter to wear at least 500 square inches of daylight fluorescent orange on his body. Other regulations. So you're looking for a new winter coat. Now that cold weather is here, it's time to think about replacing that old worn-out coat with a new one. And Parisian has just the thing for today's fashion-conscious woman, a Russian sable coat, priced at just $99,995. If $100,000 seems a little extravagant, consider this. Parisian will also throw in a new 1988 BMW. Need a new winter coat, don't you?
Yes, I do. This is the one I need, too.
And the BMW?
Oh, it's red. It's my color.
We found lots of interested lookers, but no one whipped out their checkbook or charge card to take the coat and the car home. But that doesn't have the Parisian folks discouraged.
We've tried it in one of our other markets, and it was just a wonderful idea, and it really gets a lot of attention.